this excitement in Quebec City rings a distant bell. And tonight, it all makes sense. Welcome. It's been a long time. And finally, here we are. Coucou.
Hey everyone, the Intrepid 007 here, waiting through traffic to get into the parking lot of Place du Ville, where 2 years ago they actually screened George Lazenby's film, Becoming Bond. He was here as well for that event that I unfortunately missed. They screened on Her Majesty's Secret Service right down here, and well, I missed that as well. What I ended up missing too is, well, Matt Auclair and Edgar Chaput, who were here and actually met, from what I understand, for one of the first times here in Quebec City. And they actually got to meet George Lazenby with Jeff Weibo from James Bond Canada. So that's how they all got together. And I'm on my way to meet Matt and Edgar right now. So stay tuned later on tonight. See you guys.
So, how cold is it in Quebec City?
It's colder than Montreal, that's for sure. For this adventure, I'm meeting up with Matt and Edgar from the James Bond complex. They met here in Quebec City in 2017 during the screening of Becoming Bond, the George Lazenby biopic. We're starting with the Chateau Frontenac, where the 1943 and 1944 Quebec conferences were held. Ian Fleming appeared here in 1943 at the Quadrant Conference with his superiors.
We can probably ask them where the conference was held. Second floor. Le deux. Dos.
And I thought it was Did it home?
But Mackenzie King was there as Prime Minister of Canada, but he wasn't invited to the meetings because Canada wasn't involved in the war. They were kind of helping the British, so he was just there for support of church friend. Yeah. Well, here, come over to my house. I'll let you use the living room, but I'll just not come in. So.
It's like, why can I not remember what that thing is called? That service where you rent out your own.
Oh, Airbnb.
Airbnb,
Yeah,
it's like an Airbnb.
it was the first Airbnb. Was Mackenzie King rented out the Chateau Frontenac, which of course he didn't own. And
You heard it here first on the 007 Intrepid / James Bond Complex podcast.
You'd have Fleming and then Admiral Godfrey there, and then Churchill with a big cigar, because you probably could still smoke back then.
That's one of the.
King was waiting outside because he wasn't allowed in the room.
This is probably one of the shittier rooms.
Probably. This is probably the worst room in the whole building.
I got actual paintings there. They don't look like.
These are probably very expensive and very original.
Let's break one.
I mean, I don't see any camera. Maybe security at
Is it? Is there a price?
They're just letting us.
Do.
No, these are probably, if they're probably not reproductions, but they're probably not super well known to just even
No.
heater like that. Yes, there was a story where during the quadrant meetings of 43, a corporal in the Canadian Army found a leather-bound docket of documents that was marked Overlord. And he found it and he brought it right away to, I guess, one of his superiors, and he was held to silence, and he was commended for it later for staying silent for 2 years because they had all of the plans for the invasion of Normandy in that docket that we don't know who was. Operation Overlord.
Overlord. That's also an action horror Nazi zombie movie.
Thank you.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's on Netflix.
Is it?
That's actually the first thing I thought of. So. But that's pretty cool too.
Yeah. You know, for once, it's not, you know, the Canadian government losing documents like CSIS
I
has done
know.
in the past where we've
It
gotten
makes
a
us
bad
look good.
rap. This is actually, they picked it up, they found it, and he's kept. The quadrant meetings were held here in the Chateau Frontenac's library. Right? But then other elements from the book are actually mentioned on our way towards the Citadel. Quebec City is one of the oldest walled cities. At the Porte Saint-Louis, near the entrance to the Citadel, is a statue of Winston Churchill and Franklin Roosevelt. This marks their 2 meetings in 1943 and 1944. Both Quadrant and the 1944 conference featured talks here at the Citadel. It is an active military base of the 22nd Regiment, so some spots were off limits.
This is a dead end.
You don't just pick anything.
Oh. Probably Jan Fleming got lost here. I'm assuming. He must have. Must have been driven here. Where's Vivienne? Where's Vivienne?
No, I really think that there's another path.
Royal 22nd Regiment. Bienvenido, as we like to say in Quebec, apparently. There.
Yeah, I think we.
I am French Canadian. I was born just outside Quebec at a little place called Sainte-Famille on the north coast of the Ile d'Orléans, a long island that lies like a sunken ship in the middle of the St. Lawrence River where it approaches the Quebec Straits. The Catholics won the battle over my spiritual well-being, and I was educated at the Ursuline convent until I was 15.
The Ursuline School, this is where Vivienne Michel would have lived
During your teenage years.
during her rebellious teenage years.
Son pensionnat.
And that's one of the other things I was worried about with the Fleming connection is like, did he sleep with a 17-year-old girl when he was here? Because it sounds like, yeah, it's not Fleming's type. Usually he goes for the married divorce types. And I don't think
Keeps things simple.
it would have been hard to sleep with a nun. So I'm assuming she either worked at the hotel, the girl he hooked up with, or was a waitress at a local restaurant, because I really don't think that he slept with this schoolgirl.
She might still be here. The real Vivienne Michel might be.
I contacted the school in August and I haven't gotten a response. Or no, sorry, in June I contacted them. I said, listen,
Relance.
I'm doing a research. I'm actually doing a lot of research into Fleming connections to Eastern Quebec and other things, but specifically this house, I asked the question.
Ah, you have to relance.
They never got back to me. So yeah, I'm gonna have to push it a little harder.
No, push.
The Universal Exports logo at the bottom of my email things.
the Ursuline school not too far from here.
Just up the road.
Wait, I heard Fleming's Ghost is somewhere here.
I say, it's quite nice
Oh,
to
I'm,
attend
I have an EVPN. Listen, everyone.
I say, hello, Emirates. Glad to finally meet you. How do you do, my fine? You look like a strapping young man. I say, you sort of look like a character I created not too long ago in my younger days.
Your younger days.
James Bond, Birds of the West Indies, one of my favorite books. It's delightful to return on my old stomping grounds. You know, I had the École, École de Ursuline is where I met just the most delightful little bird. Speaking of birds. Anyways, carry on, gentlemen. I see you're smoking some good stogies.
Yes, absolutely.
At ease, gentlemen.